Are you looking to fit into their mold? If you are, watch this video, the entire video, to see why maybe fitting into their mold isn't the right fit for you. Hi, I'm Katie Gates, and welcome to The Whole Agenda, everyday tips to help you learn, heal, grow, and live your very best life. Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, I want to briefly discuss something called mold, and not the black icky stuff that we see, in wet showers and on other wet surfaces, but molds that we do or that we try and fit into as human beings every single day. I'm sure that you've been in that position. I know that I've been in that position. I just think it's something that we as humans do, especially when we're children or when we're teenagers. We tend to look at all of these groups and all of these cliques, and we're like, well, what if I was a part of that group? Or what if I was a part of that clique? Wouldn't things be different, or wouldn't things be better? And wouldn't I be in the in crowd and I'll be popular and know all of these things? And the sad part about that is this is not something that's happening in schools with school-aged children. It's something that happens amongst adults every day, everywhere. So that's why it's so important that we discuss life molds and how not fitting into someone else's mold is the right choice for you. So like I said before, if you're living outside of their mold and looking to fit in, watch this entire video to find out why unmolding is the best fit for you. Watch the entire video to find out why unmolding, not getting into someone else's mold, but unmolding may be the best fit for you. When I think about molds, there's a number of different molds that we can picture when it comes to molding ourselves into something. We've heard that term forever. I'm sure a lot of us throughout our lives. Mold yourself, or that person is working to mold that child, or that career is going to mold that person to become the very best person that they can be. But there's numerous types of societal molds that we as people try and fit in every day without even thinking about it. We have educational status. That's a mold. A lot of people think that if they have this extreme educational status, that they've made it, that they fit within the mold of being successful. We have the wealth status or the wealth mold. I have got to have a certain type of wealth in order to be somebody, or to be happy, or to be successful, or for people to like me. I have to have some sort of wealth. We also have, this is very common, the body image mold. You can go on any social media platform or just on the internet itself and look at the images that are splashed all over everywhere. And everybody has this idea of what the perfect body should look like. And I forget the numbers, but 26, 32, 36, I don't know, something like that. But everybody has this perfect image or idea up here of what the body should look like. And so we have a lot of people, especially young girls, who aren't happy with their bodies because their bodies don't look like what society says a great body should look like. Then we have, like I said, the success mold or the success status. I've got to have this, this, and this on my wall or under my belt in order to paint myself as being successful. And then we have, this is another common one, religious molds. I need to be doing this, and I need to wear this, and I need to look like this, and I need to speak and think like this to fit into the realms of this religion that when a lot of them have stepped outside of what God says is and has formed their own is to make people fit within their own mold, if you get what I'm saying. And then we have one that we're seeing everywhere. Kids are battling whether they're straight, gay, bi, and every other pronoun or term that comes with that. And that's the sexual identification mold. A lot of kids today feel like because everywhere they look, see, hear, kids, not just adults, but kids are talking about, oh, I'm bi, or oh, I'm just confused. I don't know what I am. Because they want to fit in that mold that society is now saying is the greatest mold to fit in. You have to be in this mold if you want to matter. You have to be in this mold if you want people to like you, or if you want to feel a part of something or be a part of a community. You've got to fit into this mold. So we're seeing a lot of sexual identification molds. It's one of the biggest of this time, everywhere. On stations that are meant for children, on the internet, on billboard signs, posters, in clothing stores, everywhere we go, it's being shoved down our throats, down children's throats. So there's this mold, one of the biggest everywhere. And right now, children everywhere, not just children, but adults everywhere are saying, well, maybe I need to mold myself to fit into that mold. That's why it's so important to maybe not fit into everybody else's mold, but to create your own. Because if you can create your own mold, if we as people can create our own molds on a firm foundation, on a godly foundation, I have to put that in there because it's important that, we create molds, but if we're going to mold ourselves, it's important that we have a firm foundation, a godly foundation, a clear foundation, right? Yeah. So we have all of those types of societal molds that people try and put themselves into. Even if they can't fit, they try and shove themselves in because they want to feel a part of a community. They want to feel like they are a part of something and that they're not alone out there in the ocean wailing all by themselves. So they step outside of what they know is right and sure and begin molding themselves into what society or what that person tells them they should be. That's why I constantly stress and will continue to stress that it's important that we know who we are as individuals. Because if we know who we are as individuals, no one can take us, stuff us, and mold us into anything. We know who we are. So when we don't fit in the idea of someone else's mold, that's an indication. Now catch this tip. That's an indication that we're not made to fit in. We're made to stand outside of it. We're not made to fit in. We're made to stand out. And we can't be fearful of standing out. Because a lot of the times when people want to fit into a mold, they have that fear of standing out or being alone. Like I said, all out there by themselves, feeling like, well, maybe this is not the right thing that I should be doing. So just remember, when you can't fit inside of a mold, remember that you're made to stand out, to stand outside of the mold, because you just may be able to create change on the outside of the mold rather than inside of the mold. That is very good. You may be able to create change on the outside of the mold rather than being on the inside of the mold, because see, that's what makes a great leader. And although everyone is not meant to be a leader, it sounds harsh, but it's just truth, does not mean that you cannot create change on the outside of something and still be a great follower. So Like I said, that means that you were meant to create a mold perfectly fit for yourself. So instead of trying to fit into someone else's closed off mold, create your own mold and make it the perfect fit for who you are. That is one of the greatest things that we can do as human beings. Create our own molds and make it fit perfectly to who we are. So often people make molds for 3 reasons. And this is real truth, for 3 reasons. Number 1, comfort. This is the biggest one. People make molds, people put themselves in molds and keep themselves there out of comfort. They're comfortable where they are, even if it's a place of stagnation. They choose not to put effort behind making a positive or more productive change because they're comfortable there. Because stepping outside of that is unknown. And when we step into the unknown, that's a little creepy. You know, that's a little scary because I can't see beyond what I already know or what I can already see in front of me. So you want me to step outside of something that I can't see? So in other words, you want me to be visually sound, but blind at the same time? Most people aren't going there. They're like, no. I want to leave that to her or him over there. I'm not doing that. Happens every day. Number 2, out of fear. Most people put themselves or try their best to want to fit into these molds, into these rigid molds, out of fear. And the people that have created these rigid molds or these groups or these cliques, as you know, the term nowadays is cliques, is they've created them because they're fearful. So they're afraid to step outside of the mold. They're afraid to welcome someone else inside of that mold because say if that person comes in and be better than them, or say if that person comes in and changes them in a way that they don't feel is great for them, although it really is. Say if that person comes in and just turn things completely upside down and I'm no longer in charge of this mold, so I'm going to close myself off because I don't want that to happen, or I don't want to get hurt, or they act too different. You know, it's just, they're kind of different or a little strange. I don't think they're meant to be a part of our group because we can't really understand that person. So we're going to move back and keep her or him over there, and we're just going to stay right here. So a lot of fear, and there's a whole lot more that goes on through the mind of a person stuck in a rigid mold up here. So there's a lot of fear that surrounds being stuck in a rigid mold. Number 3, that person is mentally bound. And when we're mentally bound, we feel as though we can't step outside of the open box, although we can. But mentally, we feel like the box is closed, super glued shut, stapled, taped, got bricks sitting on top. So there's no way we can break out of it. But we actually can because it's wide open. But up here, we're being told, no, you can't. You're trapped there. You need to stay there. You know, what are you going to do if you make it on the outside? There's a lot of things out there that just, may really do you harm, or you may not fit in with those people, or you may not make it. So we have that mental torture going on up here that keeps a lot of us trapped and bound and trying to fit into these molds that just aren't good molds for us. So we have to remember that a mold is something that's designed to semi-permanently or permanently shape something. A mold is something designed to either shape something in a semi-permanent shape meaning not easily moldable, moldable, but not easily moldable, or a permanent shape, meaning not moldable at all, like super glue. And most often people choose permanent molds over transient molds or temporary molds due to their inability and or fear of seeing and experiencing something different, whether that be people, behaviors, etc. There's a fear of experiencing or seeing something different. And they tend to see things one way, and it's usually their own way, even if it's the wrong way. So why would you want to fit into that mold? It may look like they have a lot of people around them. It may look like they've got it going on. It may look like they're the popular kid. And this is very important for students getting ready to go off to college. We have all of these sororities, and you need to do this, and you have to behave like this, and you can't do this and this and this. And they're fighting so hard to get into these things, not understanding, well, why are you doing that again? Especially if it's not good for you. Now, if it's something good, if it's going to bring greatness to your life, to your atmosphere, your environment, then by all means, go for it. But if it's just to fit, if it's just to be in the mold, to fit in, or to feel like you have got to fit in because up here and in here, you're not confidently sound, then take a step back and think about your real reason for being there. Yes, it's to have fun, college students, but it's also to get the best education that you can without needless distractions. So if you find yourself trying to fit into a warped, wicked mold, ask yourself, why do you want to fit in anyway? That's the $1 million question. Why do you want to fit in anyway? So like I said, they tend to see things one way, and it's usually their own way, even if their way is wrong. So think about it. Why would you want to fit into that mold? Why would you want to fit into a standardized version of what life or what your life should be? Because like I said before, society or people will paint what they want your life to be. Although they have their own life, they'll paint or portray or speak, verbalize, or all of these things of what they want your life to be. Because if your life is this way, it pleases them, although it may not be pleasing you. So why would you want to fit inside of their mold anyway? I often say this, I'm going to say it until the wheels fall off of it. If you surround yourself with true greatness, you too will be great. And I hate to say this, but oftentimes that means stepping outside of the mold, stepping outside of the clique. Because I have to agree with one of my greatest mentors of all times. Anything cliquish is not of God. It's not a good thing. There's a lot of secrets running through. A lot of things to tear people down that runs through. And I'll continue to say this as well. Unity, whenever we're trying to unite something, whether it be inside of a mold or outside of a mold, starts at the top. So it's very important to know what mold you're trying to fit yourself into, because just because it looks one way on the outside, it may not be that way once you get into that mold. And sometimes people put themselves in a mold and they stay there so long, they have no idea who they are inside of the mold or outside of the mold. And that's a bad place to be in. You've placed yourself in something for so long. When those people move, you move. When they make a decision, although it may not be the best decision, you make the same. And not only do you make the same, but you agree to that same decision. Although it may not be the best decision. It may not be the best course of life whenever we try and put ourselves in molds. We have to think about all of these things. So surround yourself with true greatness, whether you're in a great mold or not. If you feel like you're someone that just must be inside of someone else's mold, make sure that it's a great mold, because if you surround yourself with true greatness, you too will be great. However, on the opposite end of that, if we surround ourselves with a lack of productivity, we will operate on that level. That's why it's so important to know what we're stepping into, what we're attaching ourselves to, or whom we're attaching ourselves to. Because some molds look phenomenal until you get inside of them. And then we're left questioning, oh my goodness, what have I done? Why on earth did I want to be here again? This is not what I thought it would be. This is not what I hoped it would be. People say that to themselves every single day. It's like that dream job, because you looked at that company on the outside, right? And you thought, well, they have this big, beautiful building, and they have the nice espresso counters inside, and they have all of this. They have a workout room, da-da-da-da-da. I just got to work there. I hear the pay is great. You know, I've worked my tail off. I went to college, got my degrees. I've just got to work here because it looks phenomenal on the outside. But then when you get inside of that thing, you get deep and you're finally hired. And you're like, what the, like, when did this happen? I didn't know that. Oh my goodness. My partner over here that I'm working with is miserable. Him over there is about to jump off of a roof because he's just so miserable, unhappy. Because it looked one way on the outside. So when we get trapped in these molds, and no one's ever trapped, it's a choice. Everything in life is a choice. You're never ever trapped. So if you find yourself in a mold and you feel trapped, know that it's a choice. Just like getting up, getting yourself dressed in the morning, it's a choice. If we're trapped inside of a mold, it's an illusion. We're never trapped. There's never a trap, unless of course you're, being physically trapped, then that's a different story. But if we find ourselves in molds and we feel trapped, just understand that we're never trapped, but really see the clear picture. Let's not just wish upon stars because of the way something looks, is what I'm trying to say. So if you feel like you're one who need to be in a mold, make sure it's a good fit for you. Because like I said, not everyone is meant to be leaders. Some people love to follow, and they're great at being a phenomenal, productive follower. You lend a hand to the greatness, and you too are great as well. So just make sure that it's a great fit for you if you do need to be inside of a mold, because honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as the mold is a great fit for you. And like I said, if we surround ourselves with a lack of productivity, we'll operate on that level. And that's simply because as human beings, we absorb what we're around. We absorb other people's behaviors. If we are around them long enough, we will tend to act like them. Especially if you're not a true leader, or if you have no desire to lead. That's different. But for most of the world who feel like they aren't capable of leading, because we have a lot of people out there that feel that way, if we're honest. Not saying that they can't lead, they just feel that way. So it's very important to understand who we are surrounding ourselves with, because we will naturally absorb some of their tendencies if we're not careful. So if you surround yourself with true greatness in a mold, you too will be great. If you do the opposite, you will be that. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. It works like that. I hate that it does, but it does. So If you're stuck in a rigid, warped mold, think about this for a minute. If you're stuck in a mold that's warped, rigid, not going anywhere, don't have true great qualities behind it or within it, there's going to be little room, if any, for positive growth, influence, or action. There's going to be little room, if any, for any type of positive influence for you, positive growth for you, or positive action to happen for you to move forward. Because warped, rigid molds are stagnant molds. I don't care how they look on the outside. Anybody can make themselves up. Anybody can wrap themselves in a beautiful package. It's on the inside. That's why God tells us he looks at the heart, because people tend to look at the person and they get all of these crazy warped ideas of what that person is based upon how that person looks, or how that person's personality is based upon how that person looks. So thank goodness that God looks at the heart of a man. We too need to start doing the same when it comes to molds. We got to start looking inside of the heart of the mold, not just the pretty packaging on the outside or what it looks like on the outside. So to wrap it all up, there's 3 things that I want you to remember the next time you're trying to fit in. 3 things I want you to remember the next time you find yourself trying to fit in, stuff yourself into something and you just can't fit. I want you to remember these 3 things. Ask yourself why you're trying to fit into someone else's mold instead of your own. Ask yourself that and then answer it. Seriously, ask yourself why you're trying to fit into someone else's mold instead of your own, and then answer it. And see what answer you come up with. It's a good thing. Journal it. If you don't have a journal, get one. They're awesome. I have plenty. So get one. They are phenomenal. Number 2, I want you to remember that growth, success, influence, and strength extend far beyond a close-knit group of people. It's just not in there. It extends everywhere, far beyond. Far, far, far beyond the mold. It lives within you. It's all around you, right? All around you. Success, growth, influence, and strength. It's all around you. It's just not within one close-knit group. It lives within. That's why it's important to know who you are. I will stress that forever. If you know who you are, you know that success, strength, influence, and growth belongs to you. These aren't just words. They're things that belong to you if you know who you are. And number 3, don't look to be part of a group, right? Don't look to be part of a group. Seek to be involved in a genuine, loving community that has your best interests at heart. So instead of looking for a close-knit clique or group or whatever, seek to be involved in a genuine, loving community that has your best interests at heart. When you do that, you'll see growth. You'll see strength. You'll see true greatness. And not only that, you will grow. You'll start moving in different things, in different places. Your attitude will change. Your speech will change. Who you are, who you think that you are, will change. So just remember, if you're looking to fit inside of someone else's mold, try unmolding yourself and fit inside of your own. That's the best thing we can do, right? As human beings, as women, as men, individuals, that's the best thing that we can do. Fit inside of our own molds. shape ourselves, surround ourselves with true greatness. So I love you all so much. I pray that this has helped you like I know it has helped me. If you know someone that this video can help, share the content, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like, comment. I love to read the comments. I love to hear from you all. So thank you so much for joining me. The next time I'm going to speak about connections and relationships. So stay tuned. I upload every week. So thank you so much for joining me. And I love you. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye.